DFS podcast with hosts John Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, everybody? John Impemba here with Colby Conway. Welcome into the Better Baseball MLB DFS Playbook Live show here. It is Friday. We have a 13-game main slate on tap. Colby, my guy, how are we doing?
Doing good. It was an interesting Thursday night game, to say the least. Had a little baseball action, even though that Rockies game didn't quite do what we had wanted, to say the least.
Well, they didn't play.
So that's not what we wanted. So.
It was unfortunate for it being a 5-game slate to lose the Coors Field game there. The Twins did what we wanted, though. Jose Urena did, in fact, eventually get blown up. It took a while. He was pitching a gem for like 4 innings and then gave up a bunch of home runs there. So the runs came from Minnesota. So if you did play, hopefully you kept your twin stack intact there because we got the runs that we needed in that one. But like I said, we got 13 games. Henry Wilson had the playbook for today, so you can check all that stuff out. I think Vreeland was on the Value Vault article today. So a lot of content out already for everybody. Appreciate you all rolling in here with us as we get going. Before we do so, though, give a quick shout out to our friends over at RT Sports. Go to rtsports.com/alarm, promo code alarm23. New users will get a 100% deposit match with their first deposit. Colby, yesterday our plays did very well. We had the unfortunate rainout, as we mentioned there, or in Colorado, but the rest of that, we had some winners. So let's see if we can get some winners for today. Taking a look at the RT Sports board here for tonight's big MLB slate. Where do you want to kick some things off today?
Well, why don't you scroll on down to that Houston game? And let's take a look at Yordan Alvarez. And let's take the 1.5 total bases. Greinke has been abused by left-handed hitters this year. 330 average, 587 slug, 399 WOBA. And all Mr. Alvarez has done is post a 520 ISO over his last 31 plate appearances against a righty. Give me Yordan more than 1.5 total bases.
Yeah, that seems pretty like a pretty solid bet there. I like that one a lot. For me, I'm going to go a game down here. Washington, Milwaukee. I like Christian Yelich more than half a run here against Jake Irvin. Irvin has struggled against lefties. He's kind of just struggled in general, but struggled against lefties. You have Yelich leading off here, give you an opportunity to score the half run. I also like the Trey Turner half run as well because he is just an absolute animal. So I'll lock in those two. Any other ones for you tonight?
The only one I'll go down, I'm surprised that we're going to get this one. I'm hoping he cracks the lineup, but if we get Mike Yastrzemski more than half a total run game with a double-digit over-under there at the top of that lineup, and again, it's a good matchup against Mr. Anderson, who's been abused by lefties, and Mike Yastrzemski has been quite good himself, so more than half a total run scored.
I like it. All right, we got an opportunity to 10x our money here today. Yordan Alvarez, more than 1.5 total bags. Christian Yelich, more than half a run. Trey Turner, more than half a run. Mike Yastrzemski, more than half a run here. We'll lock in that play there to win 5x or 10x your money there over at RT Sports. Remember, go to rtsports.com/alarm. Promo code alarm23. New users will get a 100% deposit match with their first deposit. You can scan the QR code on the screen to take advantage of that offer today. All right, Kobe, let's take a look at tonight's main event here, the DraftKings main slate. Again, 13 games on the board. You mentioned the big spread and totals that we have over in Coors, so we'll be looking to figure out a way to get those guys in our lineup as we move around. But starting off at pitching, Aaron Nola, Justin Steele, top 2 guys up over 10K. George Kirby, Zach Eflin, Hunter Green, and Tarek Skubal, 9K and above here. Again, on a large slate, we know there's going to be some value. We're going to try to fit some Coors. Where do you find yourself going when it comes to these top-tier pitchers tonight?
Honestly, a lot of the lineup builds that I have done and messed around with have been Skubal and below.
Sure.
That's pretty much where I've come into. I'm not ready for a Friday night Aaron Nola roller coaster.
No.
As likely as it is that he goes 7 shutout with 10 Ks, it's just as likely he goes 3 with 6 earned runs and he gets the hook early. So I'm not really in on Nola. Justin Steele's very interesting. Only thing is, like early on in his, what I'm going to call his Cy Young campaign, and yes, I'm calling it his Cy Young campaign, the strikeouts weren't there. Now they've come along, but Arizona has been one of the best over the last couple of weeks in terms of not striking out against lefties. It's one of those things, though. They're hitting 270 and 90 WRC plus, but striking out under 16% of the time. Yeah. Does he have the upside at that price? I don't think so. I don't willingly want to go after the Dodgers with Kirby.
No.
I could be sold on Eflin. If I'm only making one lineup for the night, Eflin's not going to be the one. I'm not doing Hunter Green. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah, definitely not going to do Hunter Green. What are your thoughts on Kirby and the 90 pitch fiasco that he had to go through? And his quote being like he was upset that he was still out there at 90 pitches in his last start.
Well, it was definitely a new school way of thinking. I think I'll say it's definitely not everything I saw on Twitter is like, oh, he doesn't have that dog in him or whatever.
Yeah.
That picture of his lungs, there was no dog. There was nothing in there that we saw. So, I mean,
it worries me if that means like moving forward, the coaching staff's willing to hook him quicker, right? Like you not get the innings out of him. If he's around 85 pitches, whatever like that, they might pull him. So that was kind of my worry at $9,500. The one, he's facing the Dodgers anyways, but two, moving forward with him, who knows how deep he ends up throwing in the game. So I'm with you there. I liked Tarek Skubal. Seth Lugo is going to be your chalk pitcher tonight. Anytime anybody's going up against Oakland, that's just the mark of the man, so you're going to get a lot of Lugo exposure here this evening at $8,600. We get a chance to run it back with Logan Webb. We liked him yesterday. Now it's a much larger slate. There'll be even less rostership on him, but if you think he can keep it down against Colorado, it's still he's still on the board and in play for me today. Yeah,
it's one of those things where with more games and more options available, he becomes a little less enticing. Can it be done? Sure. I think you can. I still think that 8,600 is a fine price point. Again, multiple builds. I think Logan Webb's can be one of those starters for you. Mm-hmm. If you're making one line build, I probably wouldn't look towards him. But I mean, everything that we said yesterday still applies for him today. Overnight, Colorado hasn't gotten better against righties. Right. Nothing's changed. Everything from yesterday still applies. So I think you can get to Logan Webb. If you go down a little bit more, as much as I love Tarek Skubal, I love Griffin Canning in the same matchup. I mean, the strikeouts are there. Detroit striking out a good bit against right-handed pitching. And I mean,
here's the fun thing. Our rostership projections here have Griffin Canning and Tarek Skubal as the top two projected starting pitchers tonight for rostership. So basically, people are just flipping a coin. They're either playing Canning or Skubal, and then they're figuring out their next move there when it comes to starting pitching.
Yep, and I honestly, when I started looking at the slate, just like looking at the matchup, I didn't even look at pricing or anything. Those were the first two I wrote on my sheet. Those are the ones I want to look at. So I like Canning a lot going against that Detroit. As I said, they strike out a lot. If you go down a little bit, I expect people to maybe want to get to Christian Javier because it's a good value and he can pop off in strikeouts. I'm not going there. I actually kind of like some Kansas City bats against him tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he's been so bad all season long. I don't see how you want to roster him even against KC here. The next guy that actually is getting some love, and I just don't understand it. Why are people looking to play Lucas Giolito? Can you make any sense of this for me at all? So Lucas Giolito sitting here with 15% rostership tonight.
My guess is they see the 9 in the strikeout column from his last start. And that's it. That's the only thing I can get behind because everything else, it was against LA. Congratulations. They strike out a good bit. He's got to face Texas tonight. Good luck with that.
9 home runs a lot of the last 3 starts.
Yeah. And it's not like in this Texas team, spoiler alert, they hit the ball. Yeah. They hit it hard. So hey, if you're in the contest against us, please play Lucas Giolito. I'm cool with it. I'm cool. I like him in y'all's lineups. That's not in my contest.
Yeah, exactly. The value play pitcher of the night appears to be Drew Peterson, if we're trusting the rostership here tonight. At home against Cincinnati, 8 Ks in 2 of his last 4 outings. Had a good start against the LA. Hasn't been great by any stretch of the imagination here, but people are getting there against Cincinnati tonight.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, even when you look at some of the numbers, like I can't get behind it. I understand why. I mean, since he's been a little bit better against lefties, at the very least, we're not striking out a lot of late. So I can't get to it. I think if you're going to go value, the one for me, it is a little bit more than Peterson. And I know the upside's capped, but I mean, is there a better matchup in baseball now than a lefty going against Washington?
Yeah.
I mean, like, let me just say it like this. Last 2 weeks, Washington against left-handed pitching, 175 average, 191 WOBA, and a 15 WRC plus.
Yeah, it's not good.
15.
It's Okay.
How do you even get that low?
You can't. It's
That's bad.
I am not the biggest Wade Miley proponent here, but the numbers are the numbers, like you said. And we've been burned by pitching using lefties against Washington in the past. I still, I don't mind a couple of the bats here, but I mean, on the year, Wade Miley's posting a 3.3 ERA, 7-4, so he's definitely been serviceable. Had a ceiling game here, 29 fantasy points against Cincinnati. So, yeah, I could see getting there at 7K for sure. I'm with you though. I think I'm just kind of living in the mid tier, and kind of moving along. I liked Canning. I definitely liked Logan Webb and Seth Lugo, Scooble, and that crew here. So I don't think I'm going to find myself going much below. I don't think I'm going to be looking to go much higher when it comes to that spot.
Could you, in that Boston-Toronto game, just because when you look at like some of the splits and stuff, like Berrios is good at home, so don't mind him. But like
Brian Bayo's got a good record career-wise versus Toronto.
Yes, and like outside of like if you look at BBP data, it's only the top 3 that have given Bayo any sorts of issues, and then also I believe it's lefties that get to Bayo, right?
Yeah. So avoid Varsho and like you're good.
But like that Toronto lineup, if I'm not mistaken, it's at least 5 or 6 right-handed hitters. So he's on the good side of his splits there. And then Berrios obviously at home is good. And the BVP numbers from the Boston side aren't all that impressive against him. Could you get to either pitcher in that game, or is that one you're just not?
I'd be more apt maybe to get the Bayo than Berrios, just given the pricing difference there. You save a little bit of cash. And again, Bayo in his career has pitched pretty well against Toronto. So probably because to your point, they don't have a lot of lefties in their lineup. I don't know. What's the status of Brandon Belt? Is he healthy? IL? What's his deal lately?
He is not in the lineup tonight. The only lefties they're running out there are Biggio, Kiermaier, and Varsho.
Yeah, so, I mean, not overly threatening. So, I could get the Brian Bayo tonight.
Okay. But just curious, that's an interesting
Chad
one.
Here, I see through you want to know thoughts on Eflin here.
You can do it. I think you can. But this Baltimore lineup scares the crap out of me. Yeah. There's a lot of juice in there. Pulling up their numbers here over the last 2 weeks against righties, and they're not striking out a ton. 123 WRC plus, 201 ISO. The price is affordable. Eflin's been very good, and at the very least, at 9,300, you're getting he's been like 15 plus DraftKings point machine over his last 5. Yeah. So you could do it. It's just not one of my top plays. It doesn't jump off the board to me. Let me
something happened with Eflin at some point, because look at some of these like strikeout numbers for him earlier on in the year, and then you look at his recent strikeout numbers. Like he had the 11 against the Yankees, but he's been really, nothing like overly impressive here. Because I see Theories pointing out his 7 shutout 8K performance back in July. He's been pretty inconsistent with strikeouts, it feels like, lately. So you can get there if you want. Again, recent performances have been fine. Not my favorite spot, but Baltimore is a pitcher's park, so could make that work. Let's move on over to catcher spot here. JT Realmuto versus Thompson at 52 is a top upspend. Though Miller's been good, I always like Kyle Raleigh against righties. There's a lot of power potential there. And then the Texas catchers. Again, I'm willing to go against Giolito here. Jonah Heim will hit from the left side of the plate. Garver's hitting cleanup. You can go either of those two against Giolito tonight.
I don't hate that. At all. I think we could run it back with whatever Giants catcher we get in the lineup, just because everything we said last night still applies. I had Francisco Alvarez written down, saw that he's not in the lineup, RIP, so we won't be seeing him. And then the other one that I could get to, I did not write his price. Let me see. He's down at 3,200. Is Campusano in the lineup for the Padres?
He should be. I mean, there's no Gary Sanchez, so I'm with you here. We highlighted him on the podcast this morning. James Grande's always been a big proponent of Campusano when a lefty's on the mound here. So for $3,200, current form too, I'm definitely in.
And 419 WOBA for the year against lefties. I believe he homered last night, if I'm not mistaken. So that could be an option there. And 3,200 buys into our pretty much daily strategy at this point at paying down at catcher.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely paying down at catcher for sure. Trying to see if there's anything else down there. They have Omar Narvaez in the lineup here. Let's see. Nomar, not very good. Good once in a while, not lately. All right, first base position then. For me, I again kind of found myself looking towards the mid-tier group here. Casas is hitting cleanup. Berrios, lefties is the weak spot for him. Alec Boehm is hitting third, hits lefties really well. Salvi Perez has been hitting righties. Christian Javier is getting hit by everybody. So like this group here, I was full on in.
Yeah, and Spencer Torkelson made the playbook. Actually, was the first hitter that Henry Wilson wrote up in the playbook today. So you could obviously look at him. The one I find myself going to, especially in some of the builds that I've done, is Josh Naylor.
Okay, yeah, I can get there.
What was his price tag?
4K.
Right there. So, you look at John Gray, home run per 9 over 2 over his last 4, 7.1 ERA. And then I look, so dating back to August 1st, lefties, 500 slug, 400 WOBA against John Gray. And obviously Naylor's numbers speak for itself against righties, but just to be really short with it, 512 slug for the year, 528 slug, 132 WRC plus over his last 10 games. So he's one I like. If you're going to pay up at first, I like Vladdy. He homered last night, and he's one of the few that has that BVP against Brian Bayo. So I think you could go to him if you're paying up, but first base screams like that mid-tier value option.
100%. I didn't even mention Nathaniel Lowe again. If you're going up against Lucas Giolito, another lefty power bat hitting in the middle of that lineup is someone you could play. What are your thoughts on going against Greinke with Houston here? We didn't mention Yadier Diaz. Maldonado's in the lineup. They don't have Yadier playing today. Is that what's going on? Yeah, it looks like they don't have him in there. All right. Well, anyway, it's Abreu. Obviously, he's down here at his price point, $3,900. With Greinke, we like to attack him, but and Grande talks about this a lot. There are also times where he just manages to pitch good enough but bad enough to where he doesn't rack up great DFS points, but he doesn't allow a ton of production against them either. They'll score a couple of runs, they'll get 6 hits, but it's not enough to kind of put you over to the top. Do you like Houston at all today? Would Abreu be somebody that you're looking at? I know you mentioned Naylor for $100 more, but any thoughts on Houston today?
Yeah, with Houston, I don't know if it'll be a full-blown stack, but if it is, I'm only going to look at the left-handed bats.
Sure.
That's what's giving Greinke the fits late. So, you could do a double pay up in the Houston outfield and go with Tucker and Alvarez. I think Alvarez is the one that I'm probably going to push for the most once we get to the outfield spot. Probably won't look too much at Abreu because then you go down to first base beyond that. Like Ryan O'Hearn's been really good against righties of late. And then Andrew Vaughn has multiple homers in his career against Bailey Ober. So you could look to him down there a little bit, but I just don't think there's a reason to get below the Lamont Wade and Josh Naylor tier per se.
Yeah. I would. That's fine by me. What did Kirilloff do yesterday? 2 for 5 with 2 RBI for our guy Kirilloff.
Finally.
I would run him out there against Jesse Schultens here today.
Yep.
Good value play. Over at second base today, again, Simeon, Altuve, Betts, top plays for me on this slate.
Yep. Verbal repost because we don't retweet anymore. So
we don't reacts. What are they?
Hey, on the app, it's repost. That's what I see on there.
Sure.
Yeah. So if you're going to go down a little bit, Spencer Steer hasn't been great of late, but has hit lefties very well. He got the homer yesterday finally, but other than that, numbers are a little bit down, but he does hit lefties very, very well. Tyro Estrada is obviously in course, so we like that. Ketel Marte's been good against lefties. Don't know if I willingly want to go after Justin Steele there. If we go down a little bit here, this is the one I mentioned. Obviously, we're contractually obligated. Ronnie Mauricio, we can play him there, so we got to mention him. Jordan Westberg has been very good of late. Christian Javier has been so bad against lefties this year. I might throw Michael Massey in there and hope for the home run.
No arguments for me. I love Michael Massey. So
back-to-back days. Christian Javier, the lefties have given him the fits this year. It's been like a really big issue for him. And Massey's got that 414 ISO over his last 32 plate appearances against righties with 6 extra base hits, 3 of which have sailed out over the fence. So, yeah, I really like Michael Massey at second base.
Yeah, again, it's weird how the season is sort of flipped for Javier. Obviously, last year he had all those strikeouts. This year, it felt like he was trying to control the ball a little bit better, so his strikeout numbers are way down, but now he's just getting hit. So it's like he needs he basically needs to be a max effort pitcher to get all the strikeouts. Otherwise, he's a pretty hittable guy there. Against left-handed hitters this year, to your point, 366 WOBA, 505 slugging percentage, 12 of his 23 home runs allowed. But even just then, the against righties, only the 189 batting average against, but still – allowing the 11 home runs. So basically, if you're not homering off him as a righty, he's getting him up, but lefties doing all of the damage to your point. So Massey, we'll talk about obviously Melendez when we get there here for KC as well. So it could be some spots for them. Anybody else at second base for you?
Could go back to Julian.
Yeah.
if you want to get there at 3,700. And I believe, yep, you got the home run
We
last
got
night.
the home run
too,
we were looking for yesterday. Yes, indeedy. Yeah, that's what Minnesota does.
Seven
They
plus.
strike out of the homer. So
7+ in 3 of the last 4.
Yep. Brandon Drury hits for power against lefties. Brandon Lau, obviously a lot of power against Flaherty here. So if you wanted a couple of home run guys, you could take a shot there in the mid tier.
Yep. I guess technically, if you, I know I said I don't want to do the righties necessarily against Greinke, but I won't fault anyone for wanting to play Jose Altuve too. I won't do it. I get why if you want to. So you could always look at him if you're going to pay up there.
Yeah, for sure. And then the last one I'll throw out there, because again, this has just been one of our favorite lefty splits on the season, is Ha-Seong Kim against left-handed pitching this year, hitting 300. He has a 229 ISO, a 923 OPS, and a 536 slugging percentage here. So Newcomb on the mound here for Oakland. I know recent performances for Kim haven't been great, but season-long numbers against lefties have been pretty legit.
Yep.
Over at third base, again, can kind of just, Machado, same thing. Great against lefties here at $5,000. Could take a peek on him. Gunnar Henderson gets Eflin. Devers against Berrios. Some plays I'm taking a look at.
Yeah, Devers 7 for 30 with 2 home runs in his career against Berrios, and it's the lefties that typically get to Berrios a little bit. So I think the top pay up option there is Rafael Devers. Obviously, we got Ha-Seong Kim, which talked about, but for me, 4,900, it's Royce Lewis. I mean, the guy just won't stop. Hits righties very, very well. And Schultz hasn't necessarily been very good, to say the least. And Royce, last 44 plate appearances against righties, OPS over 1,000, 359 ISO.
Yeah, for sure. And you're not wrong. I mean, the righty numbers here for against Jesse Schultz this year, and we talk, lefties and righties. Obviously, Minnesota has a lineup that's going to be pretty chock full of lefties in it. Lewis is one of the few right-handed hitters that they have, but righties against Schultz, 569 slug, 398 weighted on base, is the far better split. He's getting lefties out at Schultz this year, so I'm in. I like the Royce Lewis call for sure. Guys down for a little bit further, we mentioned Bohm already. Paredes just has a lot of power this year. He already got 29 home runs on the season, so if you wanted to take a run on him against Flaherty tonight, I think you could do it. For some value, Ezekiel Duran at $3,700 feels pretty good for me as well. Then Novelli Marte, we've been waiting for him to come around, finally starting to hit at $3,400.
Yep, Marte was the one I was going to highlight, and I was watching you scroll, and he started to slow down near his name, and I was like, he's got it.
Go
Marte,
for it.
I like Marte. No, I mean, he was actually one I had my eye on a little bit, and then he made the playbook too, and that was that kind of that validation that I needed there. But it's finally coming back up for him, or like what we've expected from him coming up, and then we actually have him in a decent spot tonight, hitting 6th, and some of the guys ahead of him, a la Nick Senzel, Spencer Steer, and Tyler Stevenson, have all hit lefties pretty well. So I expect Marte to come up in some pretty advantageous spots tonight.
I agree. And then Senzel, like you mentioned, they're third base outfield eligible, 369.05 over the last 10 games for him. So pretty sweet spot. Anybody else at third for you?
Marte is about the one I go down to. If you're going to go with that lefty against Bello, you could go Cavan Biggio. He's also down there as well.
All right, talk to me about shortstop. We mentioned already Giolito Seager, so lock him in. But Trey Turner gets a left too.
Yeah, I mean, how do you not play Trey Turner? I don't really know what to say about him. I mean, all he does is just hit, and apparently just hits home runs now. That's all he does. So, yeah, I don't mind it. I like getting to him. The other one I would look at in that top-ish tier would be Dansby Swanson, just because he's hitting an even 300 OPS over 860 over the last 2 weeks against righties. So Brandon Pfaadt's had his issues at times this year, so I think you can go with Dansby. But if you have the money, I think you're going up to Trey Turner, or Dansby Swanson's like that last of that top tier, and Machado as well.
Sure. I like that. I didn't care for much of the mid tier. I could get to Willie Adames, home versus righties, kind of the big splits for him. Again, not a great batting average, but a lot of power against righties on the year at $4,400.
Yep. I would agree with that one. If you go down a little bit, just trying to see some of these other names, I want no part of Trevor Story.
And lefties pretty well. I know we like Skubal tonight, but if you're not playing Skubal, you're playing Canning, you could maybe look at Nato.
Yep. Yeah, you could do that. If you go up a little bit, I mean, what do you think? I don't even know if I want to ask this question, but at 4,000, could you do Carlos Correa? It's just like lately, you never feel good putting him in there.
I mean, like I just said, the right-handed numbers against Jesse Schultz is what you want. 398 WOBA, 569 slugging percentage, 338 average. All 12 home runs he's allowed this year have been to right-handed bats. So yeah, I could get there.
It's one of those, you just never feel good when you do it. You play him and you're hoping for it, and just I don't know. He's one of those. He sucks the fun out of my lineup. You know what I mean? Like I put him in there, but
If the Twins could just trash cans in their dugout, he might go back to being the player that
you said it, not me.
That he was. So.
You said it.
All right, let's move on over to the outfield here. Again, a loaded talent up top. I'm not going to argue with you. You want to play any of these guys, but again, found myself gravitating towards the Houston Bats here against Greinke.
Yep. If you want to go Tucker and Alvarez, I think you can certainly do that at the top tier there. It's going to cost you a little bit. You can do it. I like Fernando Tatis going up against a lefty. He's got good numbers against them. Spencer Steer, I'd prefer to use him at second base and the outfield. George Springer actually has decent numbers against Brian Bello. And then what do you think? I know we talked about the Boston Bats. Masataka Yoshida's been, no offense, quite bad of late outside of that 3-hit game. Would you even look to him tonight just because it's good side of splits, or is he probably off the radar?
Only out in a stack, but even then, maybe no. I might keep the Boston stack a little bit limited there. They're not playing Sedon. They got Verdugo leading off today, so maybe take a look there. Yes, he's the highest projected roster outfielder today. I know you were in on him anyways, but locking him in against Anderson feels pretty strong tonight. If you wanted to just kind of go in that range, I like Seiya. Brantley is here. Josh Lowe, good spotted 4K. Conforto against Anderson, also a guy that you could find a way. He's the 4th highest projected outfielder tonight, so no shock people getting to the Giants outfielders.
Yeah, and I mean, Conforto only has 4 hits and 20 at bats in his career against Chase Anderson, but do you know what all 4 of those hits have in common?
Homer?
You better believe it. So
400 average, 1,000 OPS, the last 10 will draw some eyes. So.
Sure. And then we got some youngsters that are pretty good value. So what do you make, or how do you kind of differentiate tonight between the likes of like Pete Crow Armstrong, Evan Carter, and the rookie? He should be making his debut tonight, but they threw him in there with Heston Kjerstad hitting in that. I believe it's the 7th spot for them. For the Orioles. First off, let me say this. Do any of them kind of rev your engine here for this main slate?
You said for the Orioles making his debut?
Yeah, he should be. I think he's hitting 7th. I think that's what I saw.
There he is. Yeah.
$2,000.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Again, the value makes sense. He's playing DH too, so they're not like, burdening him with the positional start. Just gonna go out there and work on your hitting. So I don't mind it for punt plays. I think it's a good way to get a little different with your lineups tonight. Or do you have a favorite of the group?
Yeah, I guess I do actually. The more I think about it. It was going to be Kjerstad, but now the more I look at things, I'm really coming around on Evan Carter. And what's his price point compared?
$3,000. So he's actually more expensive than the other groups.
He's finally coming around. He got that home run the other night, got that first one off his bat, and I just don't like Giolito. So, he could be that wraparound, if you want to go Seager, maybe even Semien, then you put him in that 9 spot. I think you can go him. It's going to be really tough depending what pitchers you do not to save that $1,000 and go with Kjerstad in his actual first start.
So Drew Waters, again, based off current projections, is the highest rostered guy under 3,000. He's sitting at just under 10% rostership for tonight, for whatever that matters. So he's going to hit lefty, obviously lefty righty splits. I don't know what the strong split side is for Waters though. Let's pull that up here. Is he a better lefty hitter or righty hitter? Let's see. Drew Waters against right-handed pitching or left-handed.
All 8 of his home runs come against righties.
Yep. 165 ISO. He doesn't have like great numbers just in general, but 165 ISO versus righties versus 111 versus lefties is pretty big. So take it for whatever it's worth. Drew Waters is a better guy against righties. We talked about Javier struggles against lefties. So people looking to punt tonight are seemingly going the Waters route.
Yep. And if you just look over the last 2 weeks, 30 plate appearances against righties, 296 average, 700 OPS, 317 WOBA. Not horrible. At least all of his hits lately haven't been for much power against righties, but maybe that'll change against Mr. Javier.
Maybe it will. All right, so that's a kind of quick look here at the 13-game slate. Again, the playbook is out. What's your home run call this evening?
I'm going to go with Yordan Alvarez.
I like that. My home run call today, going to go Seager. Again, just stacking against Giolito. I'll even double tap that with Texas as my favorite stack tonight.
I will. I guess I should double tap with Houston, but I'll kind of default to what I said last night too. I still think it still applies. San Fran.
San Francisco. I like it. Let's all right. Let's build a lineup here. Let's get in Yaz, and probably Conforto here, I guess, at this point, because both of those guys are pretty highly rostered. Pitching wise, I think we're both in on Lugo. Did you want to go the Canning or Scuba route?
That's the question of the night, John, isn't it?
It is the question of the night. I would agree with you.
Let's go Canning.
Okay, we'll save a little bit of money with Griffin Canning here. Catcher we were spending down on until we figured out what we were doing.
Campusano.
Yeah. All right, shortstop. Let's see. I want Seager here. What's our other giant? Is it Wade? You go Lamate?
Yeah, let's put him at
or
first.
Estrada. We had a favorite second baseman though, didn't we too? Massey. Okay, so Massey was some value there. Third base. I think was third base a spend up spot for us. Do you like Bohm on third? Or JD Davis maybe?
I don't mind them. I think at third, the ones we kind of talk. I mean, we seem to both like Royce Lewis a little bit.
Oh yeah,
and Noel V. Marte if we want to save even more.
Let's see where we can go. Royce Lewis works for me here. Let's get the Orioles mid price guy. Let's see what we can do here. What's that give us for first baseman? 5K. All right, so we got 5K at first. We were in on. Let's see. You want to go? We have the money for Wilmer. Do you want to give Wilmer a look? If not, Bone, Casas, Nathaniel Lowe's here at 41. You like Naylor? I can get behind Naylor here. There's $1,000 to play with.
Yeah, I didn't mind Naylor.
$1,000 gets us to Griffin Canning. If you wanted to go there, or not Griffin Canning, Tarek Skubal.
Skubal. Trying to think if we had that 1,000. Oh, interesting. Could we? Where does? Okay.
Do I go Simeon and go to Marte?
We could, or what if? Well, it just matters if we take enough. We have 1,000 right now. Depending on how you do it, what we could do is get up from Conforto. I mean, that takes away our San Fran stack, but get up from Conforto to Jordan.
Okay, yeah, no, I'll take that. All right, Jordan, and we'll go back with what we had here for Massey.
Probably have to cut down from Royce to Noel V.
No, actually, this is okay. This will work. We can get Duran at 37. So get Seager and Duran in there against Texas. 41.
Is that too many one-off plays? Would we need to go to
Nathaniel? I mean, stacking's fine, but we can do this. I mean, this can
yeah.
So Nathaniel Lowe, Seager, and Duran gives us 3 Texas guys. One off Herstad. We get the one off play by Alvarez. We have the chalk with Yastrzemski. I'm fine going like this.
Okay. Yeah, at least gives us a little more.
Canning in the mid-tier.
Yeah, at least gives us a little bit. Let us double down or triple down at this point on Texas. So, yeah, I think I like that one a little better.
Yeah, I see through you saying Greinke works versus righties versus lefties. I mean, yes, but it's Jordan, so I'm willing to just sort of give him the look overall here against Greinke here this evening. So, again, you guys can play around with the lineups as you want. This is just an example for tonight's 13-game slate. Playbook is out there. You can get us in the Discord. If you're not already a member of the Fantasy Alarm family, I don't know what you're waiting for. You can scan the QR code now on the screen, or you can click the link in the description. We get a 7-day free trial right now. So you scan the QR code, click the link in the description. You get a 7-day free trial. You get access to everything we have on site. That includes our NFL DFS content, playbook, example lineups, projections, lineup generator. Everything is for free for 7 days. If you sign up today, you can get all of that access here just by becoming a member of the family. We also have 40% off the annual subscription package right now off the monthly cost. So you can go ahead and become a member of the Fantasy Alarm family for a year for 40% less than it would if you paid the month-to-month price. So check it all out now. Scan the QR code here on the screen. Become a member of the family. Good luck, everybody, tonight. We'll be around in the Discord and Twitter if you have any questions. Let's go make some money this weekend, everybody.